गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट। आज हम मानव भूगोल के ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी के एक इम्पोर्टेंट चैप्टर ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी, इसके बारे में आज हम जानेंगे। स्पेसिफिकली एजुकेशन फॉर ट्राइबल्स। जैसे हम जानता हूं, भारत के ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज पॉपुलेशन व जनजाति भारत के डाइवर्सिटी, भारत की सांस्कृतिक विरासत का एक महत्वपूर्ण अंग है। मगर स्वाधीनता के बाद, आफ्टर द इंडिपेंडेंस, if we going to analysis their socio-economic conditions, their development statistics in all spheres of life, and we will found they are lagging behind than the average or general communities of the country. जैसे हम सब लोग जानते हैं, and we strongly believe, quality education are root of development. So after the independence, through the various level, government, non-government level, there was a much efforts and various schemes are launched specifically for this community, for their development, for socio-economic changes in their life and living. The ultimate aim of education is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education at all level of school education, as to ensure the equal opportunity for every child to access quality education from junior to the higher educations. Specifically, the child, by circumstances, birth in a backward area, in a backward family, economically weaker sections, they have equal right to get a equitable and inclusive educations, health, economic empowerment schemes for their socio-economic promotion and development. Because of this aim and ambitions, Ministry of Educations implemented several schemes with a specific target of uplifting the education amongst the communities, with a specific focus in the scheduled tribe dominated areas of the country. According to 2011 census, notified scheduled tribe under the Article 342 of Indian Constitution constitute 8.6% of the total population of the country. And there are around 705 scheduled tribes living in the different part of the country notified to the 31 state and union territories as per 2011 census of the country. Government, both the central and state government, launch various schemes, facilities, policies for the socio-economic development and also adopted tribal sub-plan for education was conceived as a means of promoting overall development of these backward communities. Various research revealed that there is a correlation between literacy and poverty. Kataskova stated that impact of education and economic growth on his study provide a strong linkage between education and economic growth. He stated that the higher is the quality of education, the greater is the impact of education on economic growth. Means शिक्षा व्यवस्था जितना गुणवत्तापूर्ण होगा, गुणवत्तापूर्वक शिक्षा व्यवस्था देश के आर्थिक समृद्धि में, देश के आर्थिक विकास में, विकास के प्रभाव गति बढ़ाने में सीधा संपर्क है। गुणवत्तामूलक शिक्षा हम जब आने वाले पीढ़ी को देंगे, आने वाली पीढ़ी अपने क्षमता का विकास करेंगे, अपने सशक्त होंगे, उसके अंदर एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल डेवलप्ड होगा और जो पॉवर्टी है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का जो पीड़ा है, वो पीड़ा से मुक्त हो जाएगा। तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट of these tribal communities actually can be possible if we are going to provide quality basic education to all people, irrespective of their caste, culture, even in the difficult areas। जिस दिन हम वनवासी लोगों को घर घर डोर टू डोर जाके शिक्षा का आलेख जलाएंगे, एक एक परिवार के बच्चे, बूढ़े, महिला शिक्षा का प्रति जागरूक होगा, शिक्षा प्राप्त करेंगे, फॉर्मल, इनफॉर्मल, वोकेशनल। जो हमारा उद्देश्य है, what was our aim of education, spreading education in these communities, could be achieved and could be success in the real sense. If you're going to see the literacy rate of tribal communities, people and rest of communities, will we see there is a big gap between them. As per 1991 census, literacy rate among scheduled tribes was 29.6%, whereas the national average was 52.21. So there is about 28.09% gap in this education. Though this gap has reduced or bridged up in 2001 census, literacy rate in general population jumped into 64.8% whereas the tribal population was 47%, 10%. The gap of the two has been somehow bridged, but the difference was 21.71% still, and that is significantly higher. According to 2001 census, if you're going to take the data, literacy rate of scheduled tribe of India is only 58.96%. Against the national literacy rate was 72.99%. And here also around 14% difference in the literacy gap. And if you're going to see the female literacy rate, it was really a pathetic. Female literacy rate among the tribal communities is quite low. So the special focus has to be given to educate the female, because we believe that a educated mother can take care of education of her child. Child education and mother education somehow has direct correlations. If you're going to see the impact factor of various schemes and the policy strategy taken by the Government of India, Ministry of Education and Tribal Affairs Ministry, we'll see that gross enrollment ratio among the tribal people or communities has increased many times. Women literacies also increase. The dropout ratio was one of the challenging factors for the tribal children, mainly in the higher secondary level. Though the upper primary and the secondary level, there has been significantly increased the gross enrollment ratio, but in the higher secondary level, there is a the rate of dropout rate is drastically fall. And this is the matter of serious concern for the education planner and government also, state as well as central government, how to stop or how to reduce the dropout ratio in the higher secondary level. Means this data statistics tell us that because of lack of opportunity or awareness, tribal youth has less interest for getting the higher education, college or university educations. So understanding the fact, figures and the issues and challenges, Government of India time to time established a set of various commissions. The first commission was set up in 1948 under the chairmanship of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Thereafter, Secondary Education Commission was appointed in 1952 under the leadership of A. Lakshman Swamy Mudatia. That is Commission for Tribal Education. Government of India recommended the formations scheduled areas and scheduled tribal commissions in 1960-61 under the chairmanship of UN Devar for investing and reporting the problem of scheduled tribes. The commission submitted its report in 1961 and followed by adoption of the new sub plan for the tribal education and community development. The commission suggested that a special trained teacher should be appointed in tribal areas who knows about vernacular language or local language, has to communicate with the tribal people, children, or their parents, so as to develop the good hospitality. If they know their vernacular languages, so it will be very easy to mix up with the student with their teachers, and they could also get some inspiration, some of the force of attraction coming to the school and getting educations. Commission also suggested that there should be preservation, protection, promotion of tribal art and culture, folklore, songs in the curriculum. A special curriculum need to be designed for these tribal people and tribal students so as to stop the dropout ratio. The commission also suggested that for the tribal student and communities, there should be a separate tribe education policies. And this education policy should be very adaptable, inclusive, and realistic for the actual need, development, and aspirations as per the aspiration of tribal communities in their homeland. Beside of Devar Commission's report 1961, Kothari Commission report 1966 also suggested the same recommendations. The second National Policy on Education (NPA) was formulated in 1986 with a vision to remove the disparities, inequalities, and to bring educational opportunity for all. Moreover, it given more priority on tribal educations. Establishment of primary school in the tribal area, including ashram school, Anganwadis in tribal hamlets, means the accessibility, proximity of education should be at the doorstep of tribal communities and their residential areas so that they can access easily. They can encourage and inspire. Generally, it is also found that the infrastructure, communication, resource for education are extremely lacking in the tribal areas because of disconnected with the network of roads and etc. And this area is very difficult area, difficult terrain. So as to remove these disparities, accessible resource for better education and quality education should be provided but the district administration, state government, and the central government with the joint efforts so that education should be accessible and inclusive in these areas. Various programs and schemes on education has been launched for promote inclusive quality education for all. One of the landmark steps taken by the government of India in 2002 was RTE, Right to Education. It is a path-breaking initiative with the passing 86th Amendment in the Constitution of India, where an Article 21A was inserted to ensure that every child has a right to full-time elementary education of satisfactory and equitable quality in, in a formal schools which satisfies certain norms and standards. This led to the formulation of Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, which gave a legal mandate to promote free and compulsory elementary education to every child in the age of 6 to 14 years. Beside of these, Samagro Shiksha schemes, Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education implementing Samagro Shiksha scheme by Abhijan, effective from 2018 to 19. The aim of this scheme is to bring gender and social category gaps at all levels of school educations and in higher educations. Basically, we focus on girls' education, children belonging to the SC, ST community, minorities communities, transgenders, and economically weaker sections to provide the free quality education. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya was set up in a disadvantaged areas and for the benefit of these communities, and around 6.69 lakh girls are already enrolled in this education, and around 4,986 Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya is already operating and functioning across the country and even in tribal areas. Beside of that, Navodaya Vidyalayas, Kendriya Vidyalaya residential schools for the SC, ST or minority communities or backward classes who have economically weaker section in different part of the country. Central government also announced National Means Come Merit Scholarship Scheme for these economically, socially backward community student, meritorious student. So that they can continue the higher education. They should not drop out the education due to lack of funds or financial crisis in their families. Further, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has been implementing various schemes relating to the education, health, and economic empowerment of the tribal communities. For example, Ekalabya Model Residential Schools. It was it was approved in 2018 and 19 economic session. National Fellowship and Scholarship for Higher Education of Institute Student. Those are aspiring for the higher education, PhD and research. For that, around 246 institutes like IITs, AIMS are reserved the seat for these categories of student. National overseas scholarship, if anyone want to go abroad and getting degree, higher education from the abroad institutions. Under this scheme, financial assistance is provided 20 ST students every year pursuing higher education from abroad. Pre-matric, post-matric scholarship support for tribal research institute, central government, state government providing funds to the tribal research institute for promoting the research innovations or technical innovations in the tribal area and among the tribal community student or researcher. Development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, special scheme, financial and social supports has been extended for these schemes. It's education, health services, livelihood support, and cultural aspect also are there. Beside of these schemes, facilities, and constitutional provisions, if you're going to see or analysis or critically analysis the outcome of these all schemes, we see that there is a lot of challenges, barriers and difficulties, issues still having with the socio-economic development or changes in the tribal people life and living. Some of the major challenges, if you are listing out, that is first lack of adequate infrastructure in schools. The schools are there, but what kind of basic facilities, lab, libraries, computer, lab, lighting, and sanitary system, furniture. These are the basic requirement for the quality education. And sometimes we have seen that the primary or upper primary education to infrastructure is that not sufficient. Low learning level of children. That is very important. We encourage them for the better education, higher education. There should be a promotional policies. Though various NGOs or non-government organization, society for our trust is working in this direction. They try to improve the status of the tribal student to go for the higher educations, uh, and we can see that certain there is a achievement for that, but we are still lagging behind. We need to work out in these aspects how the promotion, popularity, and aspirations for higher education can be developed in the mind of young tribal student. Medium of instruction also one of the barriers. Most of the teachers, they are coming from the outside area. They sometimes not familiar with the vernacular language that generally used to and very much comfortable for speak by the tribal student or the tribal scholar in the particular areas. So there is a communication gap between teacher and student, and then this need to be solved by only the appointment of teacher in that particular area should be who knows the vernacular language in that particular, so that they can freely and comfortably they can communicate, they can exchange their ideas and the feeling. And also the student of tribal students should not hesitate to talk with this their teacher and their gurus. Sometimes the pedagogy of educations criticized by the experts and the scholars, way and method of giving education is really not so appreciable, not so interesting or attractive. Chalk and talk method is not so interesting. We need to work on better pedagogy of education so that our budding student can get interest to involve in their learning process. They actively participate in learning process. Learning by fun, learning by playing, this kind of ideology, this kind of pedagogy needs to be developed. It's not that we should be a simple formality to giving a textbooks. Way of delivering education should be changed by understanding their capabilities, their grasping power, and the particular environment and adaptations. We need to change our pedagogy. It should be more interesting, more attractive, and more realistic. With this conclusion, we can say that if we want to see India as a credible India, incredible India, विकसित भारत, समृद्ध भारत, उत्कृष्ट भारत, तो उत्कृष्ट समृद्ध और इनक्रेडिबल इंडिया में हमारा जो आदिवासी भाई बहन है, हमारा आदिवासी कम्युनिटीज है, उसके एक महत्वपूर्ण अवदान रहेगा। इस कम्युनिटी को मेनस्ट्रीम पॉपुलेशन का साथ अग्रणी बना के आगे का सारी में ला के खड़ा करके इसको सोशियो इकोनॉमिक परिवर्तन के साथ, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का साथ, हम तभी समृद्ध विकसित भारत के निर्माण कर सकते हैं। इसी आशा और विश्वास के साथ आज हम आज का जो व्याख्यान है समाप्त कर रहा हूं और आने वाले दिन में ऐसा ही नया नया व्याख्यान लेके आपके समक्ष में आएंगे। थैंक यू।